a little bit slow-legged. He's got a lovely step, a quick step. He's got great skill, loves the game. And it's quite possible that he'll play 200 games for St Kilda. So he was spot on. He's going to play a few more, though.
Was he bad at tossing the coin? What happened there? Whoops, what happened there? Down goes Cozzy. Interesting. Revolt tossed the coin. Not Lenny playing his 200th. Sunday football. Good bounce. Away we go. Clark knocks it down. Gardner goes after it. Brennan in trouble. Missed Adcock. Goddard. Schneider, the first kick, floats it down towards half forward. Howlett bounce awkwardly back towards the middle. This is Collier. Late inclusion. Gardner.
You just can't kick blind like that in modern day football.
There he is, Lenny Hayes. Kicks inside the forward 50. Not a bad one either. McGrath thumps it away. Good defence out of bounds.
Already the Saints have freed up Gilbert. He's playing across half-back on his own. They're going to try and fill that space between Bradshaw and Brown, which will give the Lions a free player at the other end of the ground.
Mitch Clark doing a big job, isn't he, with no Charman or Leuenberger over the last few weeks.
He's been very good too, hasn't he?
He has, yeah, he has. But I mean, the job of the big fellas from St Kilda today is just to work him over because he's playing a lone hand. They've got to make it as physical as they possibly can at every opportunity, just to tire him out.
Gets his hands on that one, Clark. McGrath. Well, Saints fans did like it. He and Stevie Milne have been at each other. A couple of terriers right from the word go. Del Santo's kick inside, and the champ gets hold of it. Revolt. You feel like Timmy's at the peak of his powers right now. It comes in waves. It must for key forwards, but right now he's in a rich vein of form, isn't he?
He has. He's been in outstanding form, but that was a hole that they should have filled, even though it was a low percentage spot to hit on that part of the ground. It was the only available space for Revolt to run into.
So much talked about his kicking for goals. 18 goals, 9 from set shots, which is not too bad. And that's a beautiful strike. You like that. What a great start.
Well, he's the go-to man. There's no question about that. Everybody that plays against St Kilda will know that they've got to stop Nick Revolt. He's got amazing endurance. We've already seen in that package prior to the game his courage. And there was a hole that should have been filled. He's kicked 25 goals now for the season. He's got great assistance too from his ground level players. So he's got Milne and Schneider who actually can play at his feet. And of course, Kazitsky's also the other big option down there. Just closely have a look at here at the way he holds the ball. Just strangles the ball at the top there. Often it's really the problems he's had in the past has been an incorrect ball drop where the ball's actually gone over to the side, but he actually had it pretty compact there.
Gardner knocked it down. Ricochets back to him. Hayes once more trying to find a way through. Holding the ball. And I suppose from Revolt's perspective, that's a better kick to get than 30 metres out directly in front to start a game in some respects, Tim.
That's right. Well, I reckon we've seen so many AFL players who actually do kick through the ball. Once they get outside their sort of 30-40 metre range, they actually swing more freely through the ball.
I think it's fair to say too, and I don't have any stats to back me up, and Josh will correct me very quickly, as Brennan kicks down towards the 50. And the road is Jones, Montagna, but I think players kick better early in the game than they do late. A lot of players these days fatiguing. They run so hard. A chain of hand passes. Gilbert got it from Goddard. Now Fisher looks inside the forward 50. Guess who? Revolt's taken the mark. And here's trouble with a capital T. Rhymes with P and it stands for pull.
Yeah, he's on the end of it though, Dennis. I mean, really the problem started at the other end when they tried to hit a target to Jonathan Brown when there were 5 St Kilda players around. Now, there's no secret. The ball is going to go to Jonathan Brown when he plays up high above Bradshaw. They've got to find another option here today. They were all camped there, St Kilda. And incidentally, John Brown actually didn't move at all, didn't run outside the defensive 50 after the ball was actually rebounded, which wasn't a great sign.
This bloke, one of the all-time great players of the Saints. Somehow his reputation took a hit in a game against Brisbane at the Gabba. How that happened, I'm not quite sure. The ball's out of bounds in the opposite pocket. Didn't time that one all that well.
Here it is, the ball just moving on the way from hand to foot there. You just sort of see the imbalance of the ball, and that's exactly what happened. The foot followed it.
Gardner good to Milne, and then Milne back. Revolt might get a third crack. McDonald with him.
Josh was very quick, actually. He said that last kick and that one he missed were later in the game. So actually, it's all downhill from the first one.
That's a beautiful tap there to Milne.
You feel like we've seen the full range in 2 shots, don't you?
That's right.
So Gardner took it out of the air to Montagna, to Milne. Good smother.
Already he's having a presence over the ruck, Gardner. Able to grab hold of that one just to set up Milne at ground level. I reckon that's going to be a real Achilles heel for the Lions this afternoon, just being able to contest against the powerful Gardner. And then after Gardner, it's King, who's also a big body player there against Clark.
It's been a revelation this year, Gardner, when all seemed lost in his career. Well done by Milne, and then Montagna, I think it's out on the fall.
On the fall, that's it there, okay, Andrew?
And Drummond to bring it back in.
This is what happens so many times when sides have played against St Kilda. They just don't get that chance to settle early in the game. The Brisbane Lions just need to string together a number of possessions just to give themselves some confidence.
Here's Brennan. On the defensive 50, play on's the call, so he backs back towards the boundary. Needs to be careful, just lobs it over the top and they retain possession.
They'll think their way through this. We saw wrestling in the second quarter last week, just really taking a chance and then running it through the middle.
You can see the congestion up ahead, and it just drops back now. So they decide to retreat. Brennan comes back inside the defensive 50. Sheldon. And now Drummond, who had the ball moments ago.
It's a good kick, this one.
Got to hold your nerve. He is a good kick, which helps in this situation. Will it get there in time? McDonald stayed on his feet, played it well, releases Sherman. Now they go.
Sherman's ability to run with the ball will be so important today.
They've got to get the ball in the hands of players that can run from that defensive part of the ground too, just to take it up to St Kilda.
So King and Clark. It's a big job for Clark, isn't it? The 2 big guys against him, both with a lot of experience, a lot of games behind them. Brennan worked it in front, and Black was held up. Brennan getting a fair bit of it. That's clever. That's Brennan, actually. As he kicks Clark. Gee, well done, Fisher. Just worked Brown over. So
2 contests, and Jonathan Brown still hasn't touched the ball in either of them.
So Gilbert's sloppy handball puts Fisher under the pump. Brown, well,
just a bit clumsy to go away a free kick. Interesting, when King actually came onto the ground before against Clark, the first thing he tried to do was make some sort of physical contact with him. That will be part of what they're trying to do today, just work the young bloke over.
Brown wondering about the first one. The umpires this afternoon, Donlan, Meredith and Keating.
Move it on. Play on.
Fisher. To Jones, right on the wing. Not a bad crowd now. Most of them Saints supporters, but Brisbane have a following here in Melbourne. Baker goes right across the ground. McWalter takes the mark, didn't break stride. Montagna is going now. Back in the middle, Geary is the target. He's got it. Good hard running by Geary. Growing in confidence. Not a good kick though. Terrible. Sherman. Now Black. Black loops a hand pass away. Riscatelli. Sherman. Wow. That was interesting. They combine to get him. The old trick back at school. The guy kneels behind you. The other guy pushes. Here's Jones on the wing. Not a good kick either. Down towards half forward. Ricochets back. Bradshaw hasn't got the footy. Spills wide. Geary. Brennan.
Tim, they're on the back foot, aren't they, the Lions?
Yeah, and when they get an opportunity like Sherman had a few moments ago, he's just got to have more poise and composure than what he did. The play was Clark on the outside. He had a seam.
Yeah, Clark was the gimme-to, wasn't he? And then they were on, but he didn't see him. So Groot just got rid of Bradshaw. So a couple of early wins for St Kilda defenders against the big 2. Revolt was the only one that really flew. Milne quickly. Well, he had an airy. There's sodas for Milne normally. Drummond stops and props. Good kick. Yeah, very good kick to Sheldon.
Now they've got to move the ball quickly through here, otherwise that defensive zone will actually push down on them. They'll be compressed, and it'll be another slow play forward.
Short to power.
That's the kick that St Kilda actually wants you to take, that one that goes out wide, then they set the trap.
Yeah.
Collier.
That's better.
Yep. To Adcock. He's got McDonald right out in front of Dennis now.
Plays on immediately. Wrong foot's Montagna. Goes in short. And Clark has started well. He's got the footy inside the centre square. Cloudy day in Melbourne. Roof is open at the Dome.
Oh, hell.
Well, get on the end of that. Sends it inside the forward 50. That's a good mark by Darren Ray.
How would you like to be sitting under those, though, if you're a forward?
Wow.
That's not the productive way to bring the ball into the forward line.
But even as a defender. And Ray took a very good mark. Here's McGrath at the back of the pack. McDonald. This defence working overtime. Drummond. Now moving for him is Harding. He goes shorter than that. Black has it. Bradshaw needs to offer. They need to encourage a long kick here before King gets back. Blake is drifting back as well. So we've got 3, 4 on 2. Bradshaw almost over the top. But the minute the mark isn't taken after the delay, there's a problem.
Blake's kick just untidy. Clark couldn't quite. Montagna picked it off. Gets it to Schneider. The run's on now. He looks up. Cossey's providing a lead. Del Santo. They draw to Del Santo. It wasn't a great handball. Adcock's hip and shoulder good. Notting. Just couldn't quite get rid of it. Adcock okay. Drummond's been important, but he missed Black there. Collier has to go and kick now. Not a bad kick to Riscatelli. Got him. So this is a chance. Out wide to Power. Brown short. He'll go there and get him.
Just watching Brown behind play, then he worked really hard to get across to that side of the ground. He actually went back to Fisher first, claimed him, pushed on him, got that separation, and he just knew as soon as he turned around that the ball was going to hit him lace out on the chest.
Tim, these are just huge kicks. I mean, they're not going to get a lot of chances, you think. They've just got to take them.
I reckon could have hurt them on the rebound like they did then. They got that ball back off St Kilda at half back, and then they opened up the mid part of the ground. That was a really good kick by Collier.
Well, just like Revolt, who was 18-9 coming in, Brown's kicked twice as many goals than behinds from set shots so far this year. He's 22-11. He's right on 50. Look, he struck it beautifully. That's a great kick. That's a statement. Slow start for the big guy. Big goal, though.
And we saw them move the ball forward. That's what you need to do. To get that advantage, you need to be able to get the ball quickly through the midfield. Here's Collier's kick. That's a terrific kick there. That one went to Riscatelli. And then that set up the movement forward, out wide to Power, who ran hard through the middle of the ground. And then it was Brown on the end of it. He'd pushed off Fisher. But if they get the ball to them one-on-one, they've got some chance, the Brisbane Lions, A, of finding space, but also of beating their opponent. But if it gets there slow and it's long and it's high,
well, the champs, a goal apiece. And the champ putting it in his book. It was that long kick through the middle. High Riscatelli, high reward. There's the bounce. Knocked down by Clark. Good coming through strongly was Austin. He's getting a free kick.
I love his attack on the ball then.
Austin. Low trajectory kick. It's in the right spot if it sits obligingly, and it does. Riscatelli once more. Hand passes, but weight of numbers favours the Saints. Gilbert got it from Clark. In the opposite pocket, they run it out once more. The long kick towards the wing, taken without breaking stride by Geary. It came from Ball across half back. Drummond though to Johnston. Johnston under pressure. The Saints coming in number. They're messing around this football at the moment. And Brisbane messing around. Eventually, though, Power with a chance. Threads a hand pass. It was well played. Clark puts it in front of Sherman. Sherman paddles it down towards the 50. Jones with speed. That's ambitious.
Good pressure, though. The last 5 minutes have been terrific, I think, if you're a Lions supporter. Gilbert. Down low. Goddard. Did the dive. Brennan. Getting a fair bit of the ball. That's clever to Johnston. And Johnston's kick missed the target. It looked sweet off the boot, but it looked ugly when it went straight into Dawson's arms.
That's the critical one, isn't it? When you get the break through the midfield like that, that next kick actually has to hit its target.
So Gilbert got it from Dawson and goes to King. He's got Hayes short. 200th game for the Warrior. And Hayes is in rare form at the moment. Geary was just terrific then. Out wide, Montagna 40 metres out on the run. That's premiership footy, that sort of stuff.
That was an outstanding mark then by Geary. It was so courageous in the middle of two players. I I thought it was a fairly ambitious kick here by Lenny Hayes. He forced it in there, and that really opened up the play. But Geary went. We know that he was named the NAB Rising Star of the Week. He's been in outstanding form this season, and a good finish there by Montagna. After Brisbane have really worked their way back into this game in the last 5 minutes.
Saints by 6 points. Rick?
Looks like Michael versus Boss has concerns about Nick Revolt. He started McDonald there. He got outmarked a couple of times. Then he went with Tim Notting. Wasn't comfortable with that one either. He's now moved McDonald back to that role at full-back.
Goddard's got the football. Throws it on the boot. Bounces it out towards the wing. Del Santo fed it back. Here's Hayes. Got it from Ball. Sold a teammate into trouble. Farron Ray. Was he taken high? No. Adcock kicks into an oncoming Saint. Del Santo not 15. McWalter. Del Santo. Now Ball again. Goes inside the forward 50. Low down. No mark. Revolts over the football. Behind the pack, Rich. Sheldon.
Oh, he had to keep going.
He did. Not much value there. Missed the target. So, McGrath with a problem. Here comes Ray. Hit the ball hard. Kept it alive. Sheldon in the opposite direction. Close to the boundary line. McGrath. Well, that's holding the ball. Gee whiz. Good tackle by Farron Ray. Got him down. Boundary throw in.
They made that a lot harder than what it needed to be then. But through persistence, they at least forced it out of bounds.
Riscatelli was on his own for a while, wasn't he? But he was probably a kick and a half away. Ray gets it to Ball and then back to Ray. Arches his back and then on heard the umpy. Schneider did very well. Terrific back turn by McWalter. Going back Geary to Schneider to Gwilt. Back it goes. Geary, gee, well done again. Good tackle though, the back by Notting. Back to Gilbert. They're working in close quarters to Jones. They need a finisher. They've found Clark now. He goes wide. Cosy. Oh no, Gardner will get it.
Back 1 metre, please. Thanks, Aaron. Michael.
Hard work, wasn't it, for both teams?
Yeah. Some of those second-tier players for the Saints, though, like Geary and McWalter, they're growing in stature game by game.
Throw Gwilt in as well, I reckon.
Yeah. Exciting times.
Well, Gardner's been very accurate this year. He's been a goal kicker. Close to a goal a game this season. And 6 goals won from set shots. Good man to have the footy in his hand from about 30, I reckon.
You're right, Bruce, and he's one of those ruckmen that actually can go forward and kick goals. And you don't see that many in modern-day football, players who can play both parts of the ground. But there's a lot of work involved here just to set this goal up. The ball didn't come beautifully off the foot there of Ralph Clark, but there was that fat side space. And they've now taken 5 contested marks, St Kilda, in this first quarter to the Brisbane Lions 0. So they have got an advantage in the air in the early part.
So good to see him back. Loves going forward, loves kicking a goal, loves his footy. And this really is his natural environment, just out there in the middle. Whoops, stops, gets clean possession, kicks down towards half forward. He's on fire at the moment, Big Michael. Opportunity for Gwilt. Strong tackle got him down. Is that holding the ball? Nothing for Notting. Away comes Rich. Kicks through the centre. Off the hands of Brown, fell in front. Trying to knock it out of there was Ralph Clark. Rich surrounded, block taken down by Hayes. Well, you've got to be quick. Wilt once more, the hand pass across to Ray. Ray kicks inside the forward 50. And Kazitsky, at the end of some hectic football, gets it far too easily.
It's been a feature of their play all year. Great tackle there by Lenny Hayes. Their defensive pressure. They remind me so much of Geelong. The player, they make those quick decisions to get back involved in the play when they can influence the play. St Kilda players. Good
to see Ralph Clark involved in the build-up. 14-7 now from set shots for Kazitsky, hanging that one out to the right. Seen this a few times. It becomes a battle for a while, and then Saints get on top simply because they break the will of the opposition. They're trying to do that now.
Clever kick.
Beautiful.
So here's Cornelius, who Rick talked about at the start of the match. Lappin's Guernsey. Big shoes to fill, but what a stage to play your first game against a team that's been so impressive. Austin, okay in close quarters.
Look, if I was to make a prediction in the early part of this game, I'd say that you won't see much of Travis Johnson this afternoon. Jones has gone to him, and generally he does a pretty good job on the players that Ross Lyon decides that he wants to tag.
Did well on Stanton last week, didn't he? Montagna, clever to Hayes, 200th game, goes for goal, hooks it.
They are such a dangerous side at stoppages then. The players had the confidence to go forward. There were 3 St Kilda players that actually broke to the attacking side of that stoppage.
Well, that's interesting. Straight to Sherman. That's a great result.
Good idea too, just changing things up. Sherman to Black. Black goes down towards halfway. That's terrible. So is that. Dawson missed it. They've got 3 on 1 though. Dawson comes away from half-back. Confronted, gets the hand pass away. Goddard. Now Baker hugs the boundary line with a kick on the lead. Strong hands, Kozitzki. He's at right half forward. Revolt indicating he should kick it to someone else before it comes into his area. He tried to go to Gwilt. Gwilt missed it, applies a tackle on Notting. Charging into the pack, McWalter. Getting back is Drummond. Well done, Hayes. Taken by McWalter, goes back to Montagna. He's stripped of the football. Hayes falling to the ground. Got a hand pass to Kozitzki. Hard against the line, under pressure there. Ray sends it in very low. Milne is taken down. And the umpire has called for it. We'll have a ball up.
Thanks, Stephen.
Gee, they're putting Brisbane Lions under some pressure when they finally get control of the ball. There's been nothing fluent about their play so far.
So Clark with Kozitzki helping Gardner. McDonald waiting. Good handball. Black on his wrong side, but he's good on the right. But that one just too high for Bradshaw. Blake didn't hold the mark. Clark bit off a bit there. Collier did pretty well. Collier kept his eye on the ball. Ray's been terrific, as he has all year. So Rich puts the tackle on. Collier rode the tackle okay. Riscatelli. Gee, the umpires are letting it go, which is good stuff. Montagna squeezes one to the pocket. McDonald has to be quick. Well done. Got rid of a couple. That's clever.
Come up the centre.
Now Drummond. Sherman. Back to Drummond.
Rich.
Got him. Well done by Drummond.
Well, now it's pretty bleak up ahead, though. Just Saints. Gardner at centre half back. To his right, Rav Clark. To his left, Blake. So Black has to find a way through that.
See, the first kick out of the back line should have gone to Rich. They actually took too much time to get the ball to Rich. When you do that, they get back St Kilda and they can set up in numbers like they set up. So you've just got to force the ball as quickly as you can through the midfield. Otherwise, this defence will get back in numbers and you won't find any space for Brown or Bradshaw to operate in. Goddard
and McWalter combine on the wing. Goddard sweeps it forward. Here's Gwilt, run down again. Bit slow that time. Well done by Polkinghorn. Coming through Austin, missed the target. Goddard, Gwilt. Now there's a man back for Brisbane. That's Clark. Well done behind by McDonald. Kept Revolt out of the contest. McDonald, untidy kick, bounces it on the 50. Kozitzki trying to control it against 2. Well done by Cornelius. Across to Power. Bradshaw, all hands to the wheel back there. Sherman feeds it forward. Cornelius, well done by the young fellow from Tasmania. Polkinghorn hit very solidly. And now, once again, Del Santo with some time. Sol Gilbert into trouble. They were looking to build, but the pressure from Brisbane was good. Here's Harding. Harding on the 50. Touched as he was kicked. It affects the kick, and it bounces out of bounds in the pocket.
It's a great handball, though, because it cleared the line, didn't it?
It freed him, didn't it? Yeah.
Well, they don't get inside 50 too often at the moment, the Lions. Can they make something of this stoppage? King, Brennan went to ground, fell in the arms of Stiller. Has to try and get it out now, Stiller. He does okay. Ball comes to Brennan. Little kick. And Luke ball at the back. Stevie Milne. It's a lovely kick.
So if you're one of those Brisbane Lions players, you shouldn't allow that kick to hit its target. You've got to push up on Gwilt a lot quicker than that. They had one outlet player then, St Kilda, to escape. It was Gwilt. So the player who was closest to Gwilt actually had to play man-to-man as opposed to giving him the room that he did.
So here's Milne, and he kicks it straight to Collier, who's been okay. Now Collier's got Adcock.
Now it needs a long kick. Bradshaw is dropping back. Brown is coming. He chooses Brown. Fisted away by Gilbert. That's better. The build-up was quick, but that kick again from Harding, taken by Fisher, comes to Blake. 50 seconds remaining in the term. Interesting game in its way. Being challenged at the moment, St Kilda, but beating the challenge with a bit in reserve. This kick from Del Santo just floats out of bounds. Sherman has been pretty good to take the kick. Margin is 14 points, 30 seconds from quarter time.
Saints' average margin of quarter time since the first round when they trailed Sydney has been 20 points. So Brisbane batting above the rest of the competition so far. So Black and Power combining. Brown attacking it. Gee, that was courageous by Baker. Well, you'd expect nothing else, wouldn't you? Blake to Raf Clark. Little one to Hayes. Had a good opening quarter in his milestone game, Hayes. Lovely kick to Schneider. Not much time. Schneider, because he's going to have the last shot of the day in this opening term. They might get that 20-point margin that they've been sitting on for 7 consecutive matches, basically. And the other thing, Tim, that's a constant is that the opposition don't get many goals against them. They're hard to score against. Well, his first shot was poor. He struck that beautifully. Yeah, 20's the margin.
Amazing.
The Saints at quarter time. Cozzy and Revolt amongst the goal scorers. And they lead it by, 20. It's 26-6 on Sunday footy.
You're good, you're very...
I reckon they're going to try and get Travis Johnson into a position where, just like Geelong do with Ablett, where you just block for him, give him the ball, because he's a very good ball carrier and he's a good decision maker and he's a good executor by foot.
I saw young Sheldon a couple of times with a footy and he was too self-conscious or just lacking the confidence to really go the long kick up the middle.
Well, and kids will. And
of course.
That's one of the problems when you don't have that experience. You don't want to take the game on.
It's great when they've got it, though. It's still some upside. Here's King, told to play on. Goes back to Gilbert across half, back to Hayes. Hayes has been in good form in game number 200. Very short, not 15. Geary has it. Back to Hayes. Gilbert alongside, pushes up towards the wing, hesitates, run down from behind by Power. That was good. Hayes back into the fray. Geary, Del Santo, short one. Schneider is stretching. Now, he was wanting to go. I thought that was almost holding the footy straight up. Montagna jams it on the boot. Hayes again. Well, a purple patch to start the term. Revolt will take the mark. No, won't get there in time. Runs away from him. He continues to come. Feeds it back. The blonde leading the blonde there. Hand pass towards the pocket from Jones. Goddard can't keep it in.
And so there's Clinton Jones. He's playing on Travis Johnson, but as soon as the ball went into their forward line, he becomes a forward. That means that Travis Johnson has to become a defender. It's no good for him to sit back behind the ball then like he did. He's got to push up to the contest.
Mitch Clark did a good job too. He was the one that put the tackle on Schneider. Black, Sherman in tight, McGrath, Del Santo. That was a flick through the legs by King. And then Goddard, Johnston. A few number 1 draft picks out there, aren't they, today? McGrath hurt. That hip and shoulder. Might be an AC joint. Ricky's the expert on all of that, but he's feeling a bit of pain at the moment. Clark and King. Del Santo. Stiller. Stiller's got the job on Del Santo.
Thanks, Nick. You're watching it. Coming straight back again. Let him run.
So just inside the 50, there's Gilbert.
There's Gilbert. That's what they face. If they get a break here, they've just got to make sure that they can bypass Gilbert.
Gee, well done, King, and then Schneider. Just couldn't quite get the angle going there. And behind. So the Saints pressing hard in the opening minutes. Here's the hit on McGrath.
These were just a one wing, but he's feisty. Around the outer side, Cornelius feeds it back. A little bit of a fumble from Power. Goes in short. Sherman, Bradshaw. A good smother, comes back though. Bradshaw again then. Drives it around the outer side. The smother from Dawson. The mark is taken by Fisher.
He's been good in the one-on-ones, hasn't he, Fisher?
Terrific. Just a stellar player. Now they'll run it up the ground. Ball beyond the wing.
Chop the arms.
Heard the umpire.
On your mark, Adam.
Schneider's
Right
got
there,
it.
thanks, Jed.
Dangerous time now. If the Saints push it over 30,
Move it on.
you would think there's no way back.
Look at this, Jones. Travis Johnson, where are you?
Jones outside the 50.
He's now a defender. As soon as the ball goes into St Kilda's half, he's now a defender.
Jones just towards the middle. King one hand to it. Couldn't mark it. Riscatelli left it behind. Taken high as McGrath. Milne appears to be hurt now. They're taking it in turns.
I mean, this may sound tough, but you penalise the side if you don't do your bit for the team. So if you've got to be a defender, you don't have control of the ball, then you've just got to make sure that you chase your man down and you pick him up.
Gee, Milne has hurt him. So, I mean, looked innocuous, didn't he? Just a high tackle from Milne on McGrath, but he's in a bit of trouble here as he comes from the field.
He's already got a bit of tape on his left leg there, on his thigh and around his knee.
So Adcock down the line. Gee, they're walking a tightrope at the moment, aren't they, Brisbane? I mean,
Yes.
just no room for error.
No.
Every time they get the ball, they must feel like they're under pressure. It's an examination every time you've got it.
That's right. With the ball and on the scoreboard, Bruce. That's the problem.
So McDonald just got around Revolt then, but now can he find Brennan? Big stretch he can, who gave to Rich. Now Rich is a long, long kick, but he didn't steady up at all. Bradshaw, well done. Dawson, gee, I love that.
That was a beautiful defensive punch, wasn't it?
Oh, from the Maxie Hutchinson textbook, wasn't it?
That was just sensational. Steve Silvani's done a magnificent job with this back six.
Stark contrast to that, of course, we saw the deliberate yesterday at that end against Dodd of Fremantle. A rare sighting, a rare bird. As I said at the time, it was like digging up a T-Rex clutching a 7-iron. Short one to the pocket, and the mark is taken by Geary. Geary just off his step. Hayes slips a hand pass away. Gilbert, bit of a fumble, kicks it up towards the wing. Some hesitation out there. Adcock. Jones, geez, good Jones, worked so hard. Schneider gave it across to McWalter, paddled forward around the outer side by Gwilt. Goddard comes back to the corridor. Schneider stopped everybody except Jones, who continued to run on. Comes to Gwilt. This deserves a goal. No.
Down to Ricky, what's happened with Stevie Milne, mate?
Well, he's actually gone down the race with the physio. What I believe he's got is a medial ligament injury. You can see the strapping that was on the inside of his knee. That means he is carrying some sort of medial ligament injury. He's probably going to get that checked again. Also, Ashton McGrath has come to the bench with that shoulder. He tried to hang out there for a while, but he's now in the hands of the physio and doctor getting it assessed.
Thanks, mate. Gee, that was a low percentage kick coming out of a behind. At least 50-50 for the Saints, and that one a boundary throw in.
Throw it in.
I'll be surprised if Travis Johnson stays on the ground much longer. Jones is up now to 10 possessions, but it's the damage he's actually doing by providing a free player and a free target for them when they move into their front half.
Michael Gardner. Michael Gardner's kick.
Stephen King's actually, but so King to get the kick. Just over the shoulder for Clark. The umpies do a good job with that names. I reckon they could make commentators at times. They're pretty accurate. Fisher gets it from Geary. Kick to the pocket to Goddard. Well, that's better by Johnston. Good contest.
We'd make good umpires too, Bruce. Don't worry about that.
I reckon it's getting harder to be a good umpire, though, don't you?
Yep. Good defensive play there by Johnson.
Boundary throw in. Inside the 50. Clark directs it down. Jones in there. Brennan over the football. Fifth in the best and fairest last season. Went to ground. Came back to him. Eventually the ball spills out of the pack. Hayes is over it. It's a tough place to get a kick in there. Adcock. They'll run it out. Hand pass comes from Notting across to McDonald. Drummond was involved in that passage as well. Bradshaw across the body, kicks it up towards the wing. Cornelius inside, made it awkward for Sherman. Coming off 35 possessions last week, won't get a possession here. Well done by Gilbert, through his body and tied it up. And the ball will be thrown in.
That started with a great handball by Mitch Clark, in tight. It's very impressive, I reckon. He's got to be everywhere at the moment. He's going to be a tired guy at half-time. Well done, Geary, the back turn. Sherman got a bit of him. Riscatelli clever there is Clark, but he misses Black. At least gave him a run. Black, Clark all over him. Baller, or what? Yep. Mine.
They make you look untidy, don't they, St Kilda, because they put so much sustained pressure on you when you do have control of the ball.
The one good thing for the Lions at the moment is that the Saints aren't scoring goals. And here we are 8 minutes into the second quarter, and the Saints...
That's a good point.
...are on 4. So at the moment, at least they're in this contest. It looks lopsided, 28-7.
They haven't been blown away, but they also haven't been able to put much positive football together at this stage. But they'll get their chance. I mean, at some stage, this pressure might just ease a little bit from St Kilda, and that's when they do have to strike and score.
They're playing tough. That's the good thing. Oh, that hurt Hayes. He was at the base of that, but oblivious to the pain. He's fighting on. And the umpire will do the honours again.
Thanks, sir.
They've been as hard as the Saints, and obviously that was a key factor coming in to match them in the endeavour. Dawson, intended for Gilbert, taken by Hayes, running out of space. It's out of bounds. Lenny Hayes mentioned his debut at the SCG back in '99. He got a heavy shirt front in that game, his only memory, and it came from Glenn Archer. Must have been a good one to remember it. 200 games on. Out of the scramble, the kick goes towards the outer side. Gwilt, Montagna, who kicked it out there. Little 1-2 with Goddard. Montagna drives it up towards the wing. Revolt outnumbered. Clark has been very good, reaching over the top, pumps it out of bounds.
It's been a reasonably compact game, hasn't it, when you think about it? You know, their runners, the outside players, haven't really had a lot of space to operate in this afternoon. I mean, Brisbane would love to get the ball in the hands of Sherman. He's a real dasher, but he really hasn't had a lot of space to operate in either.
Thank you.
That's an acquired skill too. We saw Clark go over the top that time with the left hand. He's not left-handed. Not often you see blokes punch with both hands with that effect.
There's a lot to like about him, Dennis.
Oh, you're right, Bruce.
So Gardner and Clark there, and another Clark, Raff, with an E on the end. Clark again, there he is, Brennan to Power, who was released on his right side. Now this is an important ball. Geary over the top. Drummond's handball. Adcock did well. Adcock back to Brennan. Can he find a target? It's a spearing kick. Brown worked cleverly that time. He's good on the left, Brown. We know that. Goes with a high one to the pocket. Really not a great kick in the end.
Yeah, it was a great play there by Gilbert, just to influence what Brown had to do then. He made up probably about 50 metres just to get across there and help Sam Fisher out. No doubt his instruction this afternoon is to play Brown alongside Fisher and just limit his opportunities.
Gardner knocked it down. Brown's got it. Took a while to release it. Going in strongly. McWalter cleared a path. Del Santo, though, ushered across the boundary line. Let's get down to Ricky.
Well, Stevie Milne is back. He's got a bit more strapping on that knee that I spoke about, so he looks like he's okay to go. Also, Travis Johnson did come to the bench for a spell, had a chat to the coach on the phone, but now he's back out there with his opponent, Jones.
Well done, Bradshaw. Won a test of strength with Gardner. Baker advances the ball. It bounces out of bounds yet again. It'll be thrown in.
This has become more of a dour struggle this quarter. In the first quarter, there's only 10 stoppages. Already in this quarter, there's been 14. So both sides have been able to get their matchups right and reduce the effectiveness of the key playmakers.
So Clark getting a bit of a hand from Bradshaw in the last couple. She good handball by Stiller, and then Rich and Powell. A lot of left footers here. Del Santo, another one. Harding.
It's an arm wrestle.
What would 2 goals in 2 minutes do for the Lions here? I mean, it's fanciful thinking, but they're close enough, aren't they? I mean, if they can just hang here. And they probably learnt that lesson down at Geelong. They kicked 5 goals to 18 that day. That really was a watershed day for them, and they've done very well since then. They don't want that to happen here today. Need to stay competitive, don't they?
Well, Bradshaw's had to push up the ground. He's going to take this stoppage alongside Gardner, which has allowed Clark then to just drop off the back, and he's going to play a key or a free player in front of Nick Revolt's space.
So Bradshaw, Gardner, Power, and then Harding. Tell you what would be interesting, Dennis, right now would be to track where the footy's been in about the last 5 minutes. I don't reckon it's gone too far, but there's been a lot of effort.
That's living at left half forward, isn't it?
Can they free someone up here?
Reminds me of a game of the SCG with the Swans in their prime, this sort of game at the moment. It is just like a tug of war. Both sides intent on keeping it tight.
Milne back on, by the way.
It looks okay.
Bradshaw has come a fair way from goal, still doing the ruck work. Locks up with Gardner. Gardner knocks it down. Power did well to Rich, hugs the boundary line. This will pitch just inside and go out. Takes a clever man to do that. So a boundary throw in down towards the pocket.
It's like Chinese water torture, this, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a bit. Good thing we're broadcasting it. Gardner knocked it down. Ball's got it. Rich has got him. Even we mightn't save this.
Tell you what, I reckon the umpiring is good too, because often there's an incentive to pick a quick free kick to make things happen. They haven't done it. I mean, they've been consistent.
They do that, Bruce.
Well, I'm enjoying it.
So am I.
Johnston got it, was clever. Good tackle though by Ball at the back. And then Baker and Harding, who's done some good tackling today, Harding. He hasn't kicked the ball well, but he's put a lot of good tackles on.
Has anyone ever seen anything quite like this? I mean, the last few minutes have been quite bizarre.
Well, they've moved the ball from almost central wing position now into a goal-scoring opportunity for themselves. All they need to do is draw a free kick here, and they're a chance.
There we go.
Montagna hooking. Gilbert, Riscatelli. Oh, gee, it was a good tackle, but he couldn't bring him down. And then Clark comes through. Now, Mitch Clark's got back, but they didn't get to him. And young Cornelius, he's been okay, hasn't he?
Yeah, it looks okay. He looks all right.
So the Lions to try and build. Oh, McDonald with a wee bit of a problem. Back to Mitch Clark.
Clark, a high ball to the outer side. Sheldon goes back and wins a free kick.
That was smart play.
Very smart.
He just pushed his body in underneath Blake and drew the free kick.
Blake didn't even think about him. He was just going to go at the ball, and suddenly the body came back. Sheldon told to play on. And again, that indecision. He just needs to take the game on, the young fella. He comes across the ground. Sherman. Down to his bread in the purple. Sherman to Clark. Clark inside the centre square. Now they can run, and this guy can kick over lines. Notting will send it long. You'll get one out here. Bradshaw beaten in a one out by Dawson. Dawson body to body. And that was a flicker of a chance. Here's Geary in the back pocket.
Running hard. Little push shove. There's a free kick to Gwilt against McDonald. And now the Saints can open them up. Blake, can he use it? No, he's held up. He's in trouble. Well done, Notting.
Well done.
Too long.
Because that was always going to be the problem that first time the ball broke into St Kilda's half, whether or not Brisbane were going to push back quick enough and hard enough, and they did that. Terrific play there by Notting.
I mean, with all due respect to Blake, who's a terrific player, sometimes it has a lot to do with who's got the ball too, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
So, Brisbane. Well, one of the questions, Tim, you asked is whether they could hold their nerve. Well, they've held it for a while. It's like they've been holding their breath for 15 minutes, isn't it? Here's Austin.
Nick, no closer.
That's better. Go.
To Black. Now, he hasn't kicked it too well today, Blackie. That's good. That's a beauty.
Match back here, Zach.
And
he's in range.
That's it there.
It was either Brown or Bradshaw, and Bradshaw doesn't take long about it. This would be a hard-earned goal, I reckon.
I'll say.
He's got it, and the Lions, well done.
Well, eventually something breaks, doesn't it, in a game of football? It's been tight for the last 10 minutes. Scrum, from scrum to scrum, all over the ground, and then finally somebody forgets to pick up Simon Black in such a dangerous part of the ground too. And you know he's a good executor, he's a good decision maker. 2 targets there to hit. He could have hit either one of them. In the end, it was just the fact that Bradshaw got in front of Brown. And, I mean, this has been impressive from Brisbane. Not pretty, but impressive.
more good news for the Lions. Ashley McGrath we saw go off before with a very painful shoulder injury. When he's back out and he's got a very heavily strapped, and he's gone back to play on Stevie Milne.
Thanks, Rick. So the margin 15 points. That goal a long time coming. The first of the second term. And we've played, as you can see, an expired time. Over 11 minutes. The umpire, has he got a new footy? I think he has.
I reckon they're going to auction that last one. It's a bit special, isn't it? It took a long time for a goal to be kicked.
That's right, yeah. Normally they just take them away and euthanize them, but humanely, of course.
I think that might have been going in the Hall of Fame, that ball.
Yeah, well, that's right. It was just, this is the slogfest ball. Jones. Hayes, Goddard. Ball. Comes out wide with the run of it, Raf Clark. Lets it bounce, collides with his teammate Kazitsky, but got the hand pass. Ball back to Clark. Clark doesn't want responsibility. Jones does. Oh, it's a terrible kick though. Revolt will need to get on his bike, and he does.
On the 50, on the 50.
That was a terrible great kick though, Dennis.
It was, as it turned out. It was centimetre perfect, but ugly.
Yeah, that's the difference between a side like Geelong and a side like Brisbane and where they're at the moment. That players just didn't press up hard enough at half forward to those St Kilda players. They sat back off the contest. They had to put more pressure on the footy there.
Can't question the effort though, can you? Revolt comes in from 55. Kick looks pretty good. That's not a bad response. Bradshaw, a long goal at one end. Back comes the skipper for the Saints.
This is a bit of play I'm talking about. Just too easy at this point of the ground here. There had to be more pressure on this first kick here. It didn't come off the boot beautifully, but it was to the right space. It was that fat side space that they'd open up on that side of the ground to attack through, and Revolt just protected it so well with his big frame and his big chest, and a lovely kick from outside 50.
Wasn't the most spectacular thing Nick's ever done, but I reckon if someone showed somebody that's so true to the way he plays the game, Nick. I mean, his effort, his pace, his ability to get to every contest, and then a terrific kick there. So good stuff by the captain. And Jones becoming a problem, Tim, forward as well as tagging.
Well, I reckon that's one of the great parts of his game that he's improved. Not only does he sit on somebody and just take them out of the game, he recognises when he can become an attacking player. And that plays in the mind of the player he's actually running with.
Well, Johnston...
Look at him again. Look at him. Forward of the contest here.
And Johnston had 34 disposals against Adelaide last week, and he's had 3 so far. Look, that was brilliant by Gwilt. Milne, Jones again, and Ball. Just... still a goal. Jones! Oh, is it going through? No. Well, they can't put it over here, the Lions.
But that couldn't illustrate. That could not illustrate better what we're talking about.
He was on cue with you. It was like a Beethoven symphony, Tim, that was. Well, funny bit of play, wasn't it? And Jones was in the thick of all of it. His ball, he probably missed the chance to get the goal. D'Alessandro hooking. Won't get it. Cornelius. So the Lions, who worked so hard to get the opening goal of this term, have now got to stay strong till half-time.
Adcock to Austin. Wasn't Jones tremendous there, just coming in the wake of what Tim said.
Now this is where Travis Johnson actually has to work hard, because he's lost Jones, but he's now going to find himself a position on the ground where he can be an attacking player.
If I had to describe your analysis, I would say it was Guronic. There's Drummond out of the back pocket. Now that's the kick. That can split them if he can take the ball and keep going. McGrath around the outer side, bypasses the lead. Not sure that was the thing to do. Coming up is Baker, confronted. Well, Riscatelli. Harding took his eye off the football. So did Gwilt. Back comes Harding, made amends. Terrific. Gives it to Black. Black short. And the mark is taken by Bradshaw. And we know this is right on the range.
It's almost in the identical position he kicked the ball from before. There's Simon Black. That's just a wonderful bit of play. But they kept the ball in their real estate here, Brisbane. They worked hard. It was Harding's ability to extricate himself. And then that bloke is so good at finding a target at that part of the ground.
Daniel Bradshaw, in he comes. Kicks from about 60 this time. Gives it a ride. Beautiful kick. Wonderful stuff.
Gee, Tim, what a great weapon it is in footy to be able to kick from outside the 50 and kick a goal, which Bradshaw's done. It's a fabulous thing to have.
Yeah, good tackle there by Travis Johnson. I've been pretty hard on him. He did put some pressure. You're quite right. It increases your hunting ground, and it makes the defender more honest too when you come up that high and that far up the ground. And Simon Black, he's just such a wonderful player. He's always going to find the right target at that part of the ground if you give him the time and space.
So their 3 goals have all come from 50-metre kicks, haven't they? Brown in the opening term and the 2 from Bradshaw. So no goals really from inside 50 for Brisbane today. But the scoreboard has a competitive look about it, and so it should. Hayes belting it forward. Milne's so quick. He was down in the rooms 10 minutes ago with the knee, and here he is up and running. So Saints been challenged as they were last Sunday here at Etihad Stadium, that time by Essendon, who actually outscored them in each of the last 3 quarters. That's going to be an easy goal to Montagna. No, just missing. Gee, that was clever over the back. And Lee Montagna had a bit more time than he thought, perhaps.
I think I could just about tell you what the conversation might be in the Brisbane Lions box right now. Michael Voss will be turning around to the midfield coach and be saying, what happened there? Somebody blew their assignment. I mean, somebody like Montagna shouldn't have that sort of space that close to goal at a stoppage.
Drummond, that's a clever kick. Gee, that was a good kick under pressure. Turned inside out, got it to Power. Now McDonald, back to Power. Power, got it to Harding. Sheldon, thought his way through it brilliantly. Well done. That's the kick towards half forward. Well, just wide of the mark. Behind Brown, who was going the other way. Fisher took the mark. Del Santo. Fisher. And we can run it up to the wing. Man on inside the centre square, barely. Taken by Clark. Clark sets it up for Revolt. Clean ball into the forward line, and Revolt will line up from 25.
Gee, they'd love Merritt today. They haven't really played without him for about 3 years. Just too tall there, because the Brisbane defence had a chance to knock it away, but it just didn't have the height. Cornelius.
Well, Nick Revolt's now taken 4 marks inside 50. Now Brisbane has only taken 3 themselves. So, and he jumps so early, Nick Revolt, and he stretches so high. It was just very difficult for the defender to stop him.
Probably loved both Merritts this afternoon. Oh, Nick. Misses to the right-hand side. I reckon Nick might lead Roger to the ball by about 5 or 10 metres, but you know he took the mark at least once in a game. Here's Harding. Ball run down Kazetsky. Terrific chase. Free kick to the Saints.
Don't you love to see that? One of the biggest guys on the ground running down one of the smaller players. Fabulous play.
It's just bad timing, that bounce there, wasn't it? Baker getting it from Kazetsky. Revolt. Oh, too big, too strong. Too good. It's an old cliche, I know, but that's what it was then.
Spot on.
He's had 4 shots for goals, Revolt. He's kicked a couple of beauties and missed a couple.
2 players actually watched Nick Revolt. One of them actually should have just gone for the ball. When the ball's like that, you actually have to play the ball as opposed to just playing the man.
Brennan's probably the one guy that could go with him in the air in terms of vertical leap, but
you lose a bit elsewhere.
Absolutely, absolutely. But he was close there and couldn't get into the contest. Well, that one's across the face. So 5 shots for goal for the champ. He's kicked a couple of good ones. So they're peppering here. Your goal at the other end would make things even more interesting than they are right now, because the Saints certainly dominating play in the last 5 minutes, but not getting a goal for it.
McGrath drives it around the other side wing, then hangs a long time in the air, tailor-made for the defender. Blake got a fist on it, knocks it out of bounds. So a throw in on the wing. This has been an absorbing game so far. Montagna, Black amongst the possessions. Geary, as we said, those youngsters, those second-tier players coming on. Rich around the outer side, not his best effort. It wanders inside the forward 50. Brown gets a hand pass away. Austin, the young man, takes responsibility. Floats it down towards full forward. Bounces through. Well done, Bradshaw. Reward for Austin.
That was good body work there by Bradshaw, but that kick from Rich wasn't a great kick, but actually it created this goal because it went to the right spot. He didn't hit his kick sweetly, and it didn't hit the target, but it went to the bloke he intended it to go to, which was Brown. And there's just the big, strong body of Bradshaw protecting the ball. And they've done well. Look at the margin now. I mean, we're down to 2 straight kicks.
Well, we've got to go back to round 2, Tim. Adelaide were within 10 points of the Saints at half-time for a team to be this close at this point in the match. So they've done well, the Lions.
A couple of critical misses there by Nick Revolt, though.
They've kicked 3 of the 4 goals in this quarter. Ball out of the centre. Well done, Kazitsky. Back to Montagna. Clever kick to Milne. So Milne with a chance to restore order. 4 goals, 5 this year from set shots, Milne. He's 17 goals, 8 for the season. So you can see that he's happier usually snapping and running. Well, you just wonder if it's going to come back to hurt them at the end of the day. But right now, it's giving Brisbane a lot of heart, isn't it?
Milne yet to kick a goal.
Thank you.
That was a terrific kick then by Montagna to set him up too.
Stevie Milne, his career high, 11 goals against Brisbane, round 22.05. Now in the same game, Nick Revolt kicked 6. Trivia question, did the Saints win? Drummond up towards the wing. Yes, they won by 139 points. Here's a chance for ball. Comes back to Goddard, sweeps it across towards Fisher, who hesitates. Rich split the indifference, knocked it down, but stolen away there by Geary. Did well, gave it to Goddard, comes wide to Schneider. Schneider is 60 metres out. 38 plays 25. Saints being challenged. Gardner getting forward.
Go through, man. Tony, go through.
He will kick it goal from about 40 metres out. He's got 1.
That's it there. Mark's here.
They've actually done a really good job, the Brisbane Lions, on the smalls. Milne hasn't kicked a goal. Schneider's yet to kick a goal. They've both been super form.
I reckon they've been terrific, Brisbane, so far. Gardner comes in, and speaking of terrific, that was a lovely kick. He's got great finesse for a big man, Gardner. He lumbers, he doesn't look as though he's got much style about him, but doesn't get style points, but has style.
Disposals for the 2 teams inside 50. St.Kilda 44, Brisbane 16. Closing in on half-time. Good kick to Black. It's a lovely kick.
That's why Bradshaw's become such an important player, getting up around 50, because they haven't actually been able to penetrate to get the ball inside their 50 to create scoring opportunities. They've had to go outside.
Gee, that was a good kick by Black, as Drummond did to Black, Black did to Clark.
Austin got off his man there, but Clark just couldn't see him.
It's a powerful guy, Clark. Now Brown the target. Well done, Gardner. Gee, that's a good mark.
Gee.
Back they go.
Baker's on him.
Is Dawson the most surprising footballer in 09? He just about would be, wouldn't he?
Yeah, well, I think he's surprised he's actually playing at this level now. I think they're way
interesting poking on, who we know can kick a goal. This one rolling straight through. It's a goal from nothing and nowhere. Split the middle. Oh, here they come, they're roaring. Sorry, Tim, I distracted you for a moment.
That was a beautiful call. Baker got himself in all sorts of trouble there, powered the tackle, and then the young fella just had to think his way through that. In the end, he just got a very kind bounce and it tumbled through. And that is a win for the egg-shaped ball, and it's down to 8 points. And you'd have to say the Brisbane Lions have just done an outstanding job in the second quarter. There's the tackle again. Great play there by Power, just to lock the arms up.
James Polkinghorne and Matt Austin getting their last couple of goals. So the kids stepping up alongside the names of Brown and Bradshaw. Jones got it from Hayes, kicks it inside the forward 50, 8 points the difference. Notting. Upset brewing at the moment. Notting. Black. Wonderful first half of footy. Crowd not happy. Not sure about what. What is it, Tim, they're booing? Can't be us. 5-9 to 5-1. Saints by 8 points on Sunday football. Margin is 8 points then. Indigenous round. St.Kilda have the lead, 14 scoring shots to 6, but really that hasn't been the case. Brisbane have taken it to them. Under partly cloudy skies, second half gets underway at the Dome, Etihad Stadium. And a good bounce too. Gardner came with the run. Ball over the football, finds a way out. Floats one down towards half forward. Drummond came from the back, tried to fist it away, finds it on the ground, keeps going. Drummond, a little chip pass, just shy of the wing. Polkinghorn missed the target, Baker didn't. Schneider inside the forward 50. Milne, how will it bounce? It goes away from him and out of bounds.
Had a knee injury in the first half. Stevie Milne went from the ground down into the rooms. You can see the strapping. He started with a bit. He's got a fair bit more now, but he's moved well since he's got back. Clark, so impressive in the opening half. He's a good athlete, isn't he?
Yeah.
There's like a new follower that's become a part of AFL football, isn't there?
No Charman, no Leuenberger. Now Hill not playing for Essendon, and Paddy Ryder's stepped up too, hasn't he?
And there's a little bit of a similarity between the two too. They're sort of a little bit undersized as ruckman goes, but once the ball's around the ground, that's when they come into there. And that's the area that probably he's always going to be shaded in. He just doesn't have that same strength, so he used his body illegally there.
So Gardner uses Goddard, who's normally a magnificent kick. He goes high. Kosicki. Well, that's the Achilles heel for Brisbane today. You talked about it, Tim, before the second half commenced. That high ball in is going to be a problem, isn't it?
That should be the game plan for St Kilda too. If they can keep Revolt and Kosicki within that sort of 30-metre arc or radius of the goal, and then just aim the ball in there long and high, they'll do the damage.
Contested marks today, 11 the Saints, 1 to Brisbane. And Cozzy gets his second, and the Saints get some breathing space.
We were right behind that kick when it came into the forward line, and there was only one player who looked likely to mark that ball. There's a handball off to Goddard. He's a long penetrating kick, just sat the ball up there. Kosicki just got a beautiful run at the, and he's playing against an undersized Cornelius, who's just a kid playing his first game of AFL football. No body contact with Kosicki at all. At best, even if he's not going to be able to jump for the ball, Cornelius, what he actually has to do is just body Kosicki so that he doesn't get a clean run.
Talking about similarities between Mitch Clark and Paddy Ryder from the same club in Western Australia, East Fremantle, and both really picking up the slack in their respective clubs due to injury. Knocked down by Gardner, taken away by Brennan, kicks inside the forward 50, hangs a long time in the air, and the strength of Brown prevails.
I reckon that's probably, is that the first time we've seen him win that sort of real one-on-one battle between Fisher and he?
I'd say so, and he was aided by the fact the ball was in the air for so long. The longer it's up there, the more chance he's got on the deck, if that makes sense. Man handles his man. So Brown comes in and kicks Trolley. We're trading goals to start the third term. Brown has 2.
This is the contest where Sam Fisher wants one of the other defenders to come into the contest. We go right back to the centre bounce. Here's the clearance. There's Brennan. It's a long kick in. And just watch Jonathan Brown, eyes on the ball the whole way. Good play there by Riscatelli, because Gilbert was trying to get into that contest. And that's exactly what should have happened at the other end of the ground, with Cornelius keeping Kosicki out of the contest. And that's what Jonathan Brown will rely on, one of those other players, just making sure that no one else jumps into his back.
The only 2 players this season that have had multiple goals in every match are Buddy Franklin and Jonathan Brown. So a couple again today, and that gets us back to where we were at half-time. But I tell you what, these 2 goals have taken a lot less time than the 2 in the second quarter took.
Hold him to the ground, downfield. Yeah. Your kick downfield. Simon Black, downfield. Right here. Thanks, Lee. It's downfield.
So it's not the downfield one, it's just the downfield.
And Stiller uses Brennan, and then Brennan to Brown, but well done Fisher, and then Goddard to mop up. And that one may go out. It does. Well, it's not unravelling for the Saints, but it just feel like the edges have been frayed a little at the moment.
They fumbled the mop, Bruce.
That one went like a dart, didn't it?
Boundary thrown in the pocket then. Gardner puts it where it needed to go. Good shepherd by Hayes. Goddard, can he get through? Jones tackled almost as the ball arrived by Power. It's out. They make about 10 metres. Another throw in. We saw them in the second term battle for about 8 minutes, I kid you not, and moved at about 5 metres. Similar sort of situation. Gardner taps it down. Ball could have been pushed in the back. He'll get the free.
Thank you.
Luke Ball. Possession number 16, having a good afternoon, goes back to Goddard, to Dawson. Montagna wants it short. He thinks about it. Montagna peels back. Should have got the ball. Might still get it. Schneider controls that situation brilliantly. Always had it under control. Kazitsky will get the free kick and/or mark. Paid a mark. One out. That's something that would cause Michael Voss to hold his breath. Kazitsky on McDonald. There's Revolt. In fact, in this area, Michael mightn't be able to breathe.
Not having a shot.
Kazitsky sets it up. Revolt will come from the side and mark it. But you've got to body him in the run, son.
That was really good play there by Michael Gardner. Only because it actually engaged Mitch Clark then. Otherwise, Mitch Clark would have been the third man up in that contest to spoil Revolt. But just by going deep into the forward line, Mitch Clark had to keep control of him. In the end, it was Revolt that jumped into the contest.
Coming out, thank you.
Okay, Nick. Lining up at number 3. Remarkable talent. 65 goals last season. Comes in and kicks his 27th of this season.
Well, the secret is to get the ball into that part of the ground, because on both occasions they've been able to score goals. Here's Gardner at the top of the square. Okay, he drew the ball, which drew Mitch Clark into the contest too. And then just watch Revolt, just a clean, clear jump. Nobody there to engage him. I mean, that's just too easy for one of the best forwards in the competition to get a jump at a ball like that. That's a soda.
Kicked a goal in each of the terms so far, Revolt. The marks inside 50. Revolt's responsible for half of those for the Saints.
That's a telling stat, isn't it?
So 5 goals between Revolt and Kazitsky, 4 between Bradshaw and Brown.
That's over, thank you.
I mean, the real game now
Good tackling.
for the Brisbane Lions is to stop the ball from actually getting to that part of the ground. They're going to get cleaned up when the ball does get down there, so they've just got to make sure that their midfield holds sway and they work their backsides off to just retain possession of the ball. If it does get in there, it just goes really slowly, so they've got lots of numbers back there.
So Sheldon, I think he's gone.
On the ball. Hands are free, got to make an attempt. Got to make an attempt.
So King again just ran forward to engage Mitch Clark. Now he can't get back into the goal square.
Hold the 5, guys, hold the 5.
So Schneider
Take him out. No.
trying to release Goddard.
Oh.
Gee whiz.
Wow.
Hold him. Here. Hold him down. He didn't have the footage. Here.
Now they've got a break.
What's interesting about that, I mean, Goddard's a beautiful kick, but
Right out,
Schneider's actually a very good kick. Yeah, they're prepared to give the ball up to get to Goddard. Brown caught under the lock. Good mark, Gilbert. He was the third man up, but it was a lovely grab.
Great play by Gilbert.
Gets to King, and then King out wide. And the Saints to build. Here's Jones.
Back to Montagna. Runs it up shy of the wing. Goddard. Jones on the overlap. Loves this situation. Goes with the left boot. Revolt. Got a hand to it. Didn't hang on. Landed heavily. Tries to soccer it forward. Well done, McDonald. Clark sold Drummond into trouble. Johnson ditto for Sherman. Just feeds it forward. Brennan. Well, he's like a snake in water. Found his way through. Then ran into some dry land. He gave it away. Goddard got it back. Blackbow for Brisbane, a chain of hand passes. Sherman on the 50. Now Sherman was blocked. Like to see that again. Gets up, grabs the footy and kicks it offline. It runs on and goes through for a behind. If you watched what happened to Sherman in that exchange, that is why the rule was changed this season about blocking. Watch this again. Gives the ball and the man intent on taking him down just took his legs.
Spot on, taken out of the contest.
That's where the decision should be paid.
Such a good illustration of it. So Del Santo. So Bradshaw in the back half, good mark against Koschitzki, so maybe that move's been made.
Play on!
Looks like Notting has gone forward, so he's become that second tall option for the Brisbane Lions down in their front half.
Clark's on this time. Drummond took a while to get it there, but he was able to turn Montagna Clark and then take a bounce. Revolt after him. Adcock. And then Adcock to Power. Now Brown takes off. Power's looking for him. Pressure situation. Well done, Clark, to get it back to Stiller. They've worked it pretty well. Black to fall forward. Riscatelli, not quite. Gilbert, good contest. Also Riscatelli. Well done, Zach Dawson to Luke Bull. And then Bull to Milne. So they're bombing up everywhere here. Forwards in the back line as Milne goes inside.
Driven towards half forward by Geary. Getting back though is Drummond. Who again looks back towards the corridor. They've got men on there, but at the last moment decided against it. Clark, well, he's a player of enormous talent. There's no question about that. When they get either Leuenberger or Charman back, you'd suggest they would be playing second fiddle to this man. Not this man, but Clark. Adcock takes the short one from McGrath.
Play on.
Back to McGrath. Two Saints players and somehow got between them. Probing kick at the back. Dawson completely misjudged it. It'll be a free kick advantage. Must be paid. Cornelius goes in, gets his first goal in footy. Well done to the young Tasmanian.
Well done, but the most impressive part of that was McGrath taking the game on in the midfield. Because he did, and he ran that extra 5-10 metres, the kick actually carried that extra 5 metres over the pack, and even without the free kick, it was always going to be in the hands of Cornelius there, and that's what you need to do against sides like St Kilda. You've just got to be brave and bold in the midfield.
Some amazing insight by assistant coach Craig Lamb. He actually had a word to Aaron Cornelius before he went on the ground. He told him to actually go forward to the goal square. So Aaron actually snuck around the boundary line, went to the back of the pack, and that's how he got that goal.
Well, he's been a terrific goal kicker as a junior.
Nice footy.
Cornelius. Interestingly, Brown and there's Craig Lamb, what a good player he was over the trip. Brown and Bradshaw have obviously got goals, but the other 3 goals from Polkinghorne, Austin and Cornelius, who between them I think have played 9 games coming into today. That's been a bonus for the Lions.
No, it's been a real bonus.
Oh, look at Jones.
Yeah, well, at the moment, St Kilda don't have that free player across half-back. They've engineered that for most of the game, but at the moment, the Brisbane Lions have actually sent another player into their forward line, which means that the St Kilda players have been engaged, but they're just trying to free up a player now.
Tim, interestingly, too, Revolt's come to the bench as well as Jones. There's been a couple of changes, but remembering what Ricky had said about Revolt and the virus, so he's having a spell. And he and obviously Koschitzki have been a huge problem.
Luke Ball, free kick. Ball, hold him.
Gardner's gone forward as a result of that too.
So they're versatile, aren't they? Because he could play very well there. Hayes got it from Ball, and then Hayes goes to Gardner. Big stretch. So Bradshaw on Gardner at the back. McGrath wanting the boundary line. Goddard hooking it back in. Milne turning. It's a goal, I think. It's going through. Oh, Goddard. Bad luck. It was a good effort.
Clear it out. You.
It's a good move to get Bradshaw back there. We know that he's played a bit of footy in the back line, but never for great stretches of time. But they just look like they've become more settled since he's gone back there.
Sherman to the opposite side of the ground. Gets there in time. McDonald. Now McGrath again decides to run up the gut. Whoops, does a U-turn. Back to Sherman. Across the ground. McDonald, plenty of time. Sherman. They're running hard, but they're going sideways. Now this is better. On the other side, Adcock got it from Clark. McDonald. Notting towards half full. That's a spearing kick. Now this boy can kick it a long way. Rich connects. It's coming back. Got the distance, no trouble, but just off to the left-hand side. That was interesting. The build-up initially slow, and then they went for it.
They did, and McGrath actually just in moving the ball, it kept moving St Kilda from side to side, which then eventually when they stretched them, they actually opened up the centre of the ground.
Gee, Polkinghorne
Right on it, Lenny. You're right on it.
pinching that one
You're on your angle. He's
for
right on the
Hayes.
mark.
Well, he kicked a couple of goals against the Crows, Polkinghorne. He's scrambled a clever goal so far today. And right now, the Lions have got to a point where the Bombers couldn't get to last week. They couldn't get this close on the board. They got, I reckon, within about 2.5 kicks a couple of times.
I've got it, Lenny.
Yep. Never quite got to here. Now, a goal here, and things get really
Space to
tight.
go, space to put in.
Kicked it beautifully. It's probably going to miss. No, it hasn't. Polkinghorne kicks his second.
Well, this is impressive and unexpected too. I mean, they've had their chances, St Kilda, 17 shots to 11, but that's a great interception there by Polkinghorne, who actually does show. But this is a wonderful kick too. I mean, not an easy angle to kick from. Goes through post height. I mean, he's got a big leg on him. Now they've got the reconstructed forward line. Notting's out of the goal square alongside Cornelius, and Jared Brennan's there too. So they've got some really good marking players down there.
Lukey Power is really struggling at the moment. He's come to the bench, he's had his calves stretched, he's had his quads rubbed, they've pumped him full of tablets, and now he's there on the bike, just trying to get himself loosened up. It's only halfway through the third quarter, he's already starting to cramp.
Back in the middle. Brisbane really coming.
Bring it back.
And the umpire wants it again.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Clear square,
A
clear
point
square.
the difference.
Runner, out of square, out. Blocked his run. Brendan got out. You're right, yeah.
That runner better move.
That's right, no, it's all right. It's all right. Play on.
Good tap.
Hayes tied up.
There are 4 marking players now in their forward line, the Brisbane Lions, which will engage Gilbert. Gilbert has actually now gone to Brennan, who's so dangerous, which means that he won't be able to help Sam Fisher out in the air and come off his man. That's a good move from Voss.
Remarkable round. We saw Geelong challenged on Friday night. Thumped out of there though, wide by Gardner with the run of it. Montagna got it from Schneider, lines up as he got his second on the run this afternoon. No, should have done better. Behind. Gardner just splitting things open there with a huge thump. And they've certainly got some bonuses in Kilda this year with players they've acquired, players that are growing in stature, but none bigger than Gardner in all respects. This ball to the wing, getting a hand to it, Sherman. Flicked away by Fisher, confronted there by Polkinghorne, comes to Montagna, Montagna inside, gets it back, runs to 50, well done McWalter, long ball inside the 50 off hands, Drummond gets back, Notting will need to go, Notting's got to go, Drummond comes to him now, half volley, loose ball, well played by Blake, Drummond's come again, oh that's terrific, he ran 50 metres. Take a bow, young fella. He kicked it and he kept on coming.
Great call, Dennis.
Yeah, it was, Dennis. Gee, to will, didn't he, Drummond?
No, Dennis I'm talking about. Great call.
Well, they,
That was due.
the 2 Ds together, eh? But he implored Notting, didn't he, to come to him?
Well, Notting didn't look like he wanted to make a move at all. He made it so late, and then he did the right thing. He pushed back on his opponent, got some separation, but the kick didn't stick. See Clinton Jones there after some attention to that blood nose.
So Clark getting over the top. Johnson giving the free kick. He hung on to Schneider. He's had a very poor day, Johnson. Just 4 disposals. Schneider's kick not great. Oh, that's a free kick. It's been terrific, Drummond, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He's become an outstanding player.
Such a good user of the ball and courageous. Now here's Johnston.
He'd be enjoying the time at the moment because Jones is off the ground. So if he's going to sparkle at any stage this afternoon, it'll be when Clinton Jones is on the bench.
It's a neat kick by Johnson. Lovely take by Brown. Poor handball. Brennan was good enough to make it okay. Still with Brennan, and then scrambles to a hot spot. Big fly came from Notting, but he couldn't keep his feet. Free kick for Brisbane.
Come over his head and back.
Could be in front, Bruce.
Came into his back. Clear away, runner. Adam, take it out, please.
Well, you'd reckon it's in good hands, wouldn't you, Black?
Yeah, very good.
This to put the Lions in front. Didn't think I'd be saying that today.
Go in, Jason. Thanks, mate.
No.
But saying it now, we are. The Lions lead the Saints.
Well, it was Jared Brennan again who took the game on in the most unconventional way. Here's the handball. It was a poor handball. But there's Jared Brennan who does the unpredictable at times, but he just worked his way through there. In the end, what he actually kicked to, and there's Blake almost taking mark, it was a 3-on-3 contest. Now, there hasn't been that many occasions when the Brisbane Lions have gone inside 50 this afternoon when it has been equal numbers against the defenders, but they're able to work their way through that, a free kick to Black.
He's been a great player for a long time. Other players think he's tough, and that's the ultimate accolade. I guess it's like a baseballer with a nickname like Spittin' Bill. You know, he must be able to spit through his ears. Back in the middle. Gardner decisively the challenge with the Saints. Powers kicked to half forward. Polkinghorne growing in confidence. Dragged down. Powers hand pass inside the 50. Ball gets back. Geary feeds it forward. Hayes. Ball. Hayes again. Short of the wing. Kicking towards half forward. Courage. Terrific. Stiller got a cross in front of Gardner. Hand passes to McGrath. Back to Stiller. Their confidence is on the rise. And that kick has gone a long way. One out. Chance in the pocket for Cornelius. Picks it up a metre in. Support is there from Sherman. Sherman still going. The two Tasmanians combining towards full forward. Brown missed it. In goes Jones. Rides it out. Kicks back towards the 50. Del Santo clean ball. King knocked away by Polkinghorne. Look out. Coming through as Hayes. Knows no other way. Tied up by Polkinghorne. And we'll have a bounce.
And Dennis, we should mention the job that Stiller's done on Del Santo this afternoon too. He's had 11 touches, Del Santo. Had 10 at half time. So he's really done a good job of just shutting him down.
To watch him, they're playing like their coach at the moment. I reckon the Lions are playing like Vossi. They are matching St.Kilda for hardness, aren't they?
Steady. They've got to win to play like Vossi.
Look at that kick from Rich. I mean, how penetrating was that? It must have travelled 60 metres, that kick.
So the Saints being challenged and challenged hard, and Brennan's got a lot on that. Oh, Cornelius! That was a great mark. It was a spectacular effort by Brennan, and Cornelius kicks his second for the third term, and they get a little bit of breathing space.
Well, he can mark. His last year of underage football, he took the equal number of contested marks in the competition, so he's got a good pair of hands. I reckon it was just the carry, the extra carry on this kick. It was off one step, and that just got there, and it was to his favoured side, but he showed a good pair of hands, didn't he? And good body work there too, just to push Gilbert off with his hands.
It's been a good move. Bradshaw back and Cornelius forward, hasn't it?
No, that's been a great move, a great move.
Well done, young fella. What a debut. And suddenly Ross Lyon with a lot to think about. King has to wait. Still won it. Well done. Stiller in the opposite direction. Spills wide. Schneider. Raff Clark. Hayes running down towards half forward. Ray, haven't seen a lot of him since early. And the short pass from Clark. Onto the chest of the man pushing up the ground. Kazitsky back to Clark. Short one to the middle and King 55 metres out. Revolt back on the ground. It was during some of his absence that things did change dramatically. Here's Ray. Can go long to the square if he wants to. Should have. Misses to the near side.
Just got the drop of the ball wrong there, Ray.
Against Swanner. Free kick back here. Free kick. It's your kick. It's your kick.
Yeah, it's there, running. Your free kick's not there, though.
St.Kilda free kick.
So it's a St Kilda free kick
Runner
here.
inside the 50.
Runner inside the 50. So
Take the footy.
King short to Jones, and Jones looked to go on now. He probably can't get the distance, Jones.
Just outside his distance.
Play on.
Comes wide, Montagna, who certainly you think from a set shot would be right on his limit. He'd probably get there, certainly on the burst you'd back him, wouldn't you?
You would.
He's missed a couple today, Montagna. He kicked a lovely running goal in the first quarter. He missed a snapshot at the other end of the second and missed a runner in this quarter, but he's had a lot of the ball. Well, he's hooked it, and that's been a tale for the Saints today. You think back to that second quarter, Tim, they had a lot of opportunities, didn't they?
And they've had a couple of this quarter too. So many of their players have actually gone quiet in this third quarter. There's now 10 players, St Kilda players, have one possession or less. So that gives you an indication of the dominance of Brisbane in this general play in the third term.
I think that was Jono, the runner, just disappearing into the sunset in that replay. Ball close to the boundary line. Knocked away by Fisher. Remarkable scoreline. Brisbane by 9 points. Bruce said coming in he didn't think he'd be saying they were in front. He certainly didn't think, I'm sure, they'd have breathing room. Behind the pack, it's going to be a free kick, though. It's coming back to Brisbane as Hayes was stealing away with the football. Brennan wants to go, gives it to Power, but the umpire insisting that Brennan take it behind the man on the mark.
Can't block him.
He's off to the side.
Stay there.
Now Johnson. Johnson hugs the boundary line with a kick. They're finding space. Polkinghorne, these youngsters growing in confidence, prepared to demand the football now. It's riveting stuff as he drives it down towards the 50. Brown up prematurely. Blake. Raf Clark. Ray. Well, they're working under pressure, and a lot of it is being made by themselves. Although they gamble, it pays off. Ray goes in short. And the mark is taken by Gwilt.
Who goes wide. He shows a lot of the ball, though. And Drummond was able to pick it off.
You talk about those young players showing a bit in the second half down. So I reckon with that time at half-time, probably what they sat them down and spoke about was the fact that Jonathan Brown was drawing so much of the ball. All the players, all the St Kilda defenders were going to Jonathan Brown. Now's your opportunity to actually make a lead, and we'll honour the lead, and they've been doing that really well.
Yep.
Brennan up high and then Power. Well done, Notting. They came in today, Tim, with 6 players in this 22 that had not played 10 games.
That's right. That's why they are doing such a terrific job, because of that inexperience. But, I mean, the question now is, can they go the 4 quarters?
Goddard held on to. Power driven into the ground. So Brennan handy here, isn't he? Brennan able to do a bit of ruck work with Clark back at half-back as a loosie.
He gets a bit of a rest every time the ball goes over halfway. Clark just drops off and plays that loose man across half-back.
So what an interesting 3 minutes we've got in front of us. A goal either way will tell a tale, you'd reckon. Del Santo did brilliantly, and then ball arched his back and found some space.
Inside the centre square, takes something off the kick, floats it towards half forward. Collier fists away for Brisbane. Taken by Power, goes to McGrath. His run has been important in this term. Back towards the middle, Adcock gives it across to McDonald. Searching kick to half forward, but wide of the big man. And getting back, Dawson takes the defensive mark.
He missed Notting there, Dennis.
Yeah, he did. And it wasn't a good kick for Brown when he settled on that option. Blake to Ball. He's been a good player, Ball. Coming up for his 22nd possession. And you know, he's done it tough. Here's Geary. Counting down to 2 minutes. Saints wanting a late goal. McWalter, can he find a way through? Decides against that. Goes to Goddard. He goes for Kazitsky. Works in front. That's a lot of humanity to shift. But he's taken the mark.
That was a beautiful kick though, Dennis, from Goddard, because he looked up and he saw there's a 2-on-1 on Revolt. He looked up, he saw it was a 1-on-1 with Kazitsky, and he said, no, I'm going to Kazitsky. That was a fantastic, a strong mark too.
He probably says I'm going to Kozzy, actually. Kazitsky's a mouthful when you're kicking.
Yeah, plenty of time though.
Yeah, true. Kazitsky, huge kick, and they've missed a few easy ones in this term. Goes from 40, rides it home. Oh, we're set for a big last quarter.
Well, after last week's challenge from Essendon, Ross Lyon said in his after-match presser that he learns more about his team when they're under the pump and they're challenged like they were last week. Now he's going to learn a bit more about his team this afternoon.
I think Bomber Thompson said that to you Friday night, didn't he?
He said exactly the same thing after Friday night's contest against the Bulldogs too. And you know, if they are the side that most of us now believe they are, St Kilda, it's all about the way that they handled this challenge that Brisbane Lions thrown at them.
It's been a good combination. Goddard to Kazitsky in this quarter. Twice he's found him, and twice Kozzy has delivered. So back to one kick in it. Can they get in front of three-quarter time, the Saints? King, well done. Goddard, ball. No free kick, it's been good ball. And now King gets it inside the 50. Kazitsky! Not quite. Looked a good chance. McGrath's been terrific to centre wing. And good play, I think, by
McGrath's been outstanding, Bruce. The couple of times where he's really taken the game off from half back has created these attacking options for them.
Brennan doing a lot of the ruck work late in this third quarter. Jones, Johnston. Well, he just dropped it down, Jones. Clark, McWalter did well. King up. Well, we've got a spiral going. Kazitsky, Kenny. Yes, or no. He's dropped the second one. Keeps his head low. Still did well. Collier attacked hard. Johnston getting involved.
Good play.
Well, McDonald and Sherman, they weren't too sure. Now Sherman. Well done in the end to Adcock. Got to get rid of it. Does. McDonald. Adcock. Keeping cool head here. Well, kicks to a hot spot at centre half forward. Gilbert worked well. Got to free kick. It was a terrible kick really by Adcock.
Yeah, that's the most important kick in modern day football, that last kick that's going to create a scoring option for him.
Thought Kozzy was stiff at the other end.
But the big story is the scoreboard right now. It's three-quarter time on a Sunday afternoon at Etihad. Doesn't quite ring like the Dome, but it is Etihad, and that's for sure.
Needs to be seen, but I reckon what we have seen this afternoon about St Kilda, and I guess everybody wondered when it might drop off, and that's their intensity levels about the way they've played. They've been outstanding for 8 weeks, but can you continue to play like that week in, week out in AFL football?
Well, half an hour remains. Brisbane with a grab at glory right here. Wouldn't this be something for their coach? Hayes out of the middle, chopped off by Power. Sherman, who's been so industrious, coming off 35 possessions last week. Harding slips through, kicks it down towards the attacking 50. Brown to Johnson. Right there, step for step was Jones. Harding lines up from 30. And that, I think, is out of bounds on the bounce. That's not a bad result. They'll get a boundary throw in. Goddard going defensive side, and just as well, it's pretty open to the square.
Brennan was quickly in, but Fisher able to get it and whack it away outside. Well, not outside the 50, and Sherman, who's a good kick, a long kick, and loves a goal.
There's no one in the game who loves a goal more than this bloke. I tell you what, you can stop leading right now.
Kicked 3 against the Crows last week. Kicks from 50. She struck it beautifully. Oh, perfect start to the final term.
I've got to say, that is a very subdued celebration from him too. There's the pressure on the kick from Sam Fisher, and Sherman, who has had a fair bit of the ball this afternoon, but we haven't seen him breaking and running and bouncing like he normally does. I mean, it hasn't been one of those games where any of the midfielders had a lot of space to operate in this afternoon, but he's been a serviceable player.
They were the most accurate team coming into this match, Brisbane, on the scoreboard. They're 11 goals 3 today.
8 straight from set shots today, and a lot of them from long range. Very impressive by Brisbane. When it comes down to it, skills just so important. You've got to be able to finish. Clark gets into his move early. Gardner won it down. Del Santo through the legs of Ray. Ray goes after it. Clark goes after him. And the umpire, I think, will ball it. Oh, gee.
Wait up. Here,
Well, he certainly tried to get it out, one assumes.
Right out, guys. Right out. Play on.
Free kick was paid to Clark. Hand passes across to Brennan. Searing kick inside the 50. Dawson got a fist on it. Del Santo just clears the zone momentarily. Reaching over the top was Sherman. Goes on to apply a tackle. Great double effort there by Sherman. And then he works over Goddard. I like that in the boy. We'll have a bounce.
Well, Michael Voss will love the fact that the 2 kicks that St Kilda have tried to clear their defensive part of the ground have both been under pressure. They've both gone high and given the Brisbane Lions a chance to win the ball back.
The other good tackle in there came from Harding, who's kicked it poorly today, but his tackling has been a feature. Hayes just worked it in front cleverly. And if Brisbane could keep up their tackling ferocity that was seen in the first 3 quarters, the Saints are going to find it hard to break them here.
Looks like Gilbert has moved up the ground too. He's not in the back line. He's gone to power, so maybe they're just trying to get a bit more energy, a bit more run in their midfield.
71 tackles to 46. And they've been terrific in that department.
Advantage!
So Hayes getting that advantage from Montagna. Kick to half forward. Was he held on to? Milne did very well. Milne. Schneider to Hayes to Gilbert. He's a left footer, so he had to squeeze up. And has he got the distance? No. He just had to get too squeezy, didn't he? You know the feeling, Dennis, when you get squeezy?
The lift this morning at the Hyatt, Bruce. Bradshaw across to Clark. Clark has been wonderful. The hand pass put a teammate under pressure that time. Sheldon taken down front on by Gwilt. Oh, we'll have a bounce.
Now, Schneider and Milne are yet to kick a goal this afternoon. You would think it's almost impossible that the Brisbane Lions would keep both those players quiet for 4 quarters of football.
What an afternoon it's been. What a weekend at this venue. Down goes Gwilt. Through comes Brennan. They work the boundary. Sherman kicks it up towards the wing. It pitches and runs on. Baker is the first back. After him is Polkinghorn.
On the first time.
What a terrific tackle that was. He put his head down and he just went at the body. If you watch that again, wasn't even concerned about the footy. Just looked at the hips. It was classic. Polkinghorn then off his step goes in short. Johnston is about 60 metres out. Where's the tall target? Brown is drifting back towards the square. Play on's the call. Johnston retreats to Sheldon. Liked his game. Sheldon to Adcock. Inside the centre square. Squares the ball to Bradshaw. No man behind him from either side. Comes to McDonald. McDonald just forward of the wing.
So they've been able to eat up a bit of time and get it to the fat side. And now the fat side becomes the thin side. Brennan. Oh, well done. He just pickpocketed Blake, didn't he?
How did he get that?
Short kick to Cornelius. Tries to get around. A good tackle. Let's hope they don't get too careful here, Brisbane. I mean, they're not panicking, which is good, but they were very slow there. So Goddard to Milne. And then Milne through the centre to Gwilt. Can it open up here for the Saints? Gardner running. That's the target. Drummond's been brilliant. Gardner had a second crack. And then Ralph Clark and Gardner got in one another's road. Harding, the leg. This is Sherman. This is what you haven't seen, Timmy. Sherman running and running hard and kicks to centre half forward. Not a great kick. Dawson flirting a bit. Goddard out wide. Gets it to Fisher. Gets it to Jones. Gets it to Fisher. Not much happening. Gets it to Goddard. Goddard's a beautiful kick normally. Montagna.
Plays on immediately, sets it wide. Schneider just shields the ball from Sheldon.
1 metre, that's it there.
Very lucky it wasn't 50. Schneider's got the football. Revolt represents the danger, but that's a terrible kick. McDonald took it and kept going. Power making Revolt work. That's an untidy hand pass making McDonald work. You know Revolt well. He kept going, got the football. The hand pass comes from McWalter. Across the ground, Schneider. And Blake has it. 55 metres out. Kazitsky goes to the pocket. Takes the mark.
And Dennis, the moment Cozzy took the mark, Luke Power just admonished himself. He belted himself in the thigh.
Yeah.
He knows.
Yeah, it was untidy across half back. And I mentioned Revolt. He kept tracking and tracking and eventually won the football. Just hard work. Nothing else. Nothing flash. Kazitsky. Huge kick. They need some self-belief. Their record is 8 out of 8, but they'd like a goal. He rides it home. Beautiful kick. 3 points the difference.
Well, they had to change the angle of their forward thrust in St Kilda. They got the ball on the fat side, on the other side of the ground. They went around the arc. And you'll always find that space there in the Brisbane Lions, even though they've been so good at blocking Revolt's space on the other side of the ground. Once they changed the angle, they just couldn't get across there quickly enough in numbers to fill that hole. That's a good finish there by Kazitsky.
Michael Voss, for the second week, Kazitsky and Revolt are being relied upon to kick the big goals, aren't they? For the Saints, they've got 7 of the 9 today. That equals Cozzy's best against the Lions with his 4. So back to a kick. Clark impressively up. Brennan's tackle okay, but Montagna from Ray to Hayes and his 200 probing kick. Kazitsky underneath it. And then McGrath, who was so important in that third quarter resurgence for the Lions, bowling it over the line.
Well, he's been outstanding defender. McGrath hasn't had a goal kicked on him. And the other player that's been terrific in their back half has been Drummond.
So how do Brisbane here to mix the daring they need to win and also just, I guess, holding their nerve in all these hard situations? That's the balance they've got to get for the next 15 minutes. Jones has been very good. Ray, Montagna continuing to work very, very hard. Kicks a high ball. It's been a good ball, that high ball normally, but oh, well done by Bradshaw. That's been a huge move, hasn't it?
That's been one of the moves of the game, to get him back there just to stabilise their back line.
I've got it.
In answer to your question, I think it's going to get down. It'll go down to their veteran-type players, their more experienced players. You know, Black and Power, and we've already seen Bradshaw, the influence there.
Sheldon goes back then. McDonald, a tough job all afternoon. He soldiered on. McGrath hugs the boundary line. Adcock.
Thank you. That's it.
Impressive player.
This just goes back to their pre-season training. This is how they make sure that they find that one-on-none.
Clever by Bradshaw, came across and put some indecision there into the mind of Schneider. And as a result, enabled the kick to go longer, and McDonald has it. You know what they say, indecision is the key to flexibility. It comes back. Bradshaw's got it. Moving for him is Collier. Collier's got it. Sherman's on. Thinks about Sherman and decides to run it up. Little skip if you don't mind. Goes short. That was interference surely. Austin, no free kick. Socket off the ground by Adcock. Well played, Adcock. Kept it in front. Might have been Stiller who should have got the free, was it? Certainly. No, it's Austin, and that's certainly a free kick.
30,600 here today. Jones to ball, good tackle by Sherman. Gwilt. Jones gets to Ray, and then Ray attacks the goal square, and Clark couldn't quite with Gardner. Still with Clark. Well done to McGrath. Looks up and delivers. Austin making good ground. Needs to go on with it now. One bounce. Goes along the line. Riscatelli. It was a good kick in the end. It was an untidy looking kick, but the direction was good. And then Riscatelli. Well, that's not such a good kick. And Clark. That was a nothing kick by Riscatelli. That was a sellout kick.
Montagna's been impressive in this last quarter too. Brisbane Lions just make sure that they can keep a hold on him.
So Gilbert to Dawson.
Dawson in short to Ray, still inside the defensive 50. That was the involuntary. I think I'm going to slow it down. Goddard's got it. Fisher is on. Comes to Fisher now. Rich with a decision to make. Just staying off. Well, over the top to Jones. Well done, Rich. Gee, played that well. Goes again, but Fisher's got the football to half forward. Gardner has been wonderful today. That's been an absorbing duel, he and Clark. To Ball. Revolt trying to turn around and get in the contest. Loose ball at the back. Brennan. Nothing predictable here. Brennan. He just pushes a man aside. Then a beautiful kick into the path of McGrath, who's marked in the back pocket. I think it's a bit early for this, but they want to change direction. Brennan. Spot on to Clark.
I reckon three of the best for the Lions involved there. McGrath, Brennan and Clark. Not such a good kick. Raph Clark, well done, Black. They need a big 15 minutes from Black. Rich's kick, just bouncing in. He's done that a couple of times today, Rich.
The game itself is actually in a holding pattern at the moment. Here's the push-off from Brennan. That's a classic, don't argue that one.
He is unique. No one plays it like him.
That's right.
Taken in the same draft as Goddard at 3, Goddard at 1. Such an important ball in there. Sherman can go. He's 50 out. He can go. He's kicked the 2 in the last quarter. He loves the big stage.
Again, it was the Brisbane Lions pressure there that forced St.Kilda to cough the ball up. They've had 76 tackles now to 52. Now what St.Kilda have been doing to most sides is just out-tackling them and applying that pressure, but they've had to come back on themselves today, and just being able to free the ball up there, getting the numbers of the contest. And we know this bloke can kick a goal from a long way out, and again, a very subdued celebration by his lofty standards.
That man got the goal. Polkinghorne hit the pack hard too and split things open. And now Ross Lyon working that phone feverishly. He's learning a lot this afternoon. If this is the environment he wants to learn in. Austin
Lenny Hayes
had the football, but it's coming back to Lenny Hayes. He's going to get the free kick in game number 200.
Yeah, he just fell right in the back.
Coming up for possession number 26. If they do go under, it won't be his fault, although a long way to go. 9.5 minutes and Milne's got the football.
He's in range, Dennis. That was a brilliant kick by Hayes. He was going to go out wide to Kaczynski, but the Brisbane Lion defenders read that. They blocked the space. Look at this. Beautiful shot, that just right in behind Lenny Hayes.
Goddard runs past, thinking he should have got the football, oblivious to that. Milne unloads, but I think he's got the goal. He has.
Well, you talked about a small forward needing to kick a goal in the last quarter, Tim. They've got one now.
They got their one. Yeah, look at this. Just terrific play there by Lenny Hayes in game 200. Could have gone out wide. A younger, less experienced player would have done that. But he held onto the ball, turned his eyes, turned his shoulder inside. The left shoulder came inside. Then he found that option there, Stevie Milne. And that's a good finish from him. Hasn't been a great afternoon for him.
So back to 3 points. Well, we've never had in the VFL AFL history 2 teams 9 and zip in the one season. Geelong are there waiting to see whether the Saints join them.
Play on.
Brisbane still lead. Clearances vital. Power couldn't quite. Montagna floating it. Oh, floating it through. The Saints hit the front.
He has been outstanding in this last quarter.
It's like he's got fresh legs, Tim.
Yeah, and the other guy that has got fresh legs has just come on, Dalsano, who just missed that ball. He's been out of sorts this afternoon, but he is fresh now. He spent the last 5 minutes on the interchange. Now is the time for him to do some damage. He's a much improved player.
And Luke Powers who's played so well today, is playing tired in this last quarter. Just couldn't hold there, had to really.
Back-to-back goals for the Saints. Well, these days bookmakers bet on just about anything. There's the bounce. Stuff like the texture of nasal hair. You just wonder about what the odds were coming in if in fact the Saints are to win. But St Kilda and Geelong would win in round 9 by less than a goal. Still a way to go. 3 points the difference. But on what we've seen this afternoon, don't expect Brisbane to go anywhere. Clark playing wholeheartedly. Del Santo to Hayes. Hayes storms out of the middle. Low inside the forward 50. Takes a ricochet off the ground. Mills gets a remarkable goal. And he's got that matter-of-fact look on his face. Turn it up.
How important Del Santo was in the centre. Tim had talked about the fact that he'd come on fresh legs. We've been looking for a Schneider or Milne moment. Well, we've had a moment, all right, Tim.
This is just magnificent. You wonder how Justin Kaczynski didn't need to do his groin. Yeah, look at that. Look at the split. Actually, I think it was his arm that trapped the ball in the end. But ever the opportunist there from Milne.
If somebody told you, Tim, show me how Stevie Milne played the game, you'd show them that 10 seconds, wouldn't you? That's how he played the game.
And that was not the cleanest possession from Nick Del Santo, but it was just great the way that he buried in there to gain possession of the ball.
Well, the question's been asked. We're getting an answer from the Saints, aren't we?
I'll say.
Revolt worked under Chip. Brett should make a mighty fine defender when you look at him today, don't you?
I reckon he's been played out of position for the last 200 games.
Well, he has kicked more goals than any other Brisbane Lion in history. You'd like to have 2 of him.
He's a great player.
Here he is again, but now they've got to attack. Oh, he can't concede. Revolt's with him. He lent him, surely. McDonald over the top. Back to Drummond, who's been terrific. To Sheldon. Came off Quill. They're working hard. So much being revealed here. Adcock looks up. Back to McDonald. Handball. Nodding. Well done, McDonald.
Oh, terrific
to McGrath. Doesn't use Harding. It was a good decision. Ball's got him. Oh, fantastic stuff. Del Santo. Off they go again.
Schneider, Clark, Montagna.
He'll kick this. He'll kick this.
Milne's got it. Milne holding the ball.
He didn't kick it.
Drummond comes away. Wonderful by Adcock. Drummond the hand pass to Sherman. At the feet of Black. He won't panic. Gives it to Rich. Now Sherman has a bounce. Runs to the wing. Kicks to half forward. Riscatelli. Going back is Brown. Well, he thought about it. Brown running hard. He puts it in that direction. Blake will come over the top. Got a fist to it. Near the boundary line, Cornelius, the first gamer, goes down, and it spills out of bounds.
How good was that? Couple of minutes of footy down the other end.
Great tackle there by Adcock.
And the way Brisbane ran the ball out under pressure with a handball.
Marvellous.
Clark got it to Montagna. What a last quarter from Montagna. Well, the one thing that's happened to him, I reckon, Saints getting to the front at least has brought Brisbane out of their shell. They've got to attack again now. They've gone into a defensive mode, I reckon, for 10 minutes. Now they have to play with daring. Let's see if they can turn it into something. You'd love them to get another goal right now, wouldn't you? Not if you bet it for the Saints.
Jim Montagna's last quarter's been outstanding.
10 possessions, Tim, in this term so far, and there's still over 6 minutes to go.
Goddard getting it from Hayes. Oh, magnificent. Well, it looked, I don't reckon he had the energy to put his arms up there, McWalter. Out comes Drummond. It's a beautiful kick. Polkinghorne's been impressive. Power's been terrific. He switches it inboard to Adcock. Lovely kick. He's got Brown. Game on still.
They haven't given it away, have they? Drummond has just been outstanding off half-back. This kick here set the whole thing up.
It's one of those games.
I like Polkinghorne here too, Bruce, just the way he kept moving then.
Tim, it's been one of those games we've had 4 or 5 outstanding players for both teams, haven't you?
Yep.
Be hard giving the Brownlow votes. Well, You reckon he'll kick this? He's kicked 3. What a game.
Bradshaw, blood rule. Back here, J.A. Bradshaw from Brisbane. Coming off to you now.
So something's still happening here. The umpire...
Blood rule.
It's a blood rule. So Bradshaw's off. So Brown gets his 3rd.
He's got blood on that finger, so...
See, they'd want to get him back in a hurry, wouldn't they?
It looks like he might have a dislocation very similar to perhaps what Chapman had the other night. It wasn't a fracture, it was just a dislocation that had pierced the skin. Maybe it's not that serious, maybe it's the blood of somebody else, but the trainer's there working away feverishly because he's done an outstanding job since he went into the back line.
Hopefully it's okay, but it is serious for Brisbane because they're reshuffling their defence. McDonald has gone deeper now. May have happened when that loose ball was in the goal square and he battled with Revolt. Ball went to ground. Collier couldn't find a way through. McWalter's hand pass came across to Del Santo. In fact, it was ball. Schneider has it inside the centre square. Kazitsky has gone very wide. McWalter on the angle.
50 Tom.
Takes the mark. Now,
50. Right out.
Gardner is the tall target in the square. Kazitsky is running back. He goes in short though, and the mark is taken by Revolt about 40 metres out. Huge kick for Nick Revolt, who's got 3 goals this afternoon.
Well, Dennis, you talked about this in the first quarter about the fatigue and what it might do to his goal kicking. You want to back him from here?
Yeah, I will. Only because I'm a big fan. He's missed a few this afternoon. Could have had 5 or 6 by now. Come on, Nick. Make us look good. Puts it through. Tough for Brisbane.
And at the moment, St Kilda appear to have all the answers, but once again, Del Santo was terrific in the centre bounce here. That was Lenny Hayes' handball. He's been very good in his game 200. They worked the ball well. Schneider just finding McWalter. Now, he's the sort of player who can just pop in under your guard because you won't believe that he'll draw the ball, but he's outside his distance. You've just got to make sure that Revolt doesn't find this space, and that's all they needed to do.
So Bradshaw still off the ground, and so vital, isn't it? Gee.
Got blood on his shorts, Bruce.
We've just got to get him back out there. Clark won the tap. Del Santo's so crucial that the Saints winning all the clearances in this last quarter from the centre. Sheldon getting tackled.
It's great to see someone like Del Santo, though. He's had a quiet afternoon. Still did a terrific job on him. Went to the bench, then to come on and then have an effect on the game like he has. 13-4 now, the clearances in this final quarter. That's been telling.
Third man up, Goddard cleared the pack. Johnston did well. Black then. McWalter. Goddard can get the distance, we know that, but he couldn't get the angle on the ball. So Brisbane will get hold of the footy. Still enough time for 2 goals to be kicked.
Been busy this afternoon too, Goddard, 28 touches.
Bradshaw wanting to get back on, but now's not the time. It's a very bad time for interchange given where the ball is. So Bradshaw is right to come back, but it could be lost by the time he gets back. It may be lost. McWalter trying to find a way through. Schneider stood up in the tackle. McWalter, Revolt, missed by Geary. Bradshaw, get out there, son.
Well, they've got to try and clear this ball with some precision, the Lions. It's in good hands. Can Drummond find a target? Geez, a great kick. That is a magnificent kick.
That's a weapon, isn't it, when you've got a left foot like that?
He's got it almost to the centre wing now. Austin, in his second game with a huge decision. Well, he goes back to Sheldon as Bradshaw's on. So a second gamer gives it to a fourth gamer. A lot of inexperience. Here's a sharp learning curve, you reckon, at Etihad today for these guys, and they've done well. The kick to centre wing. Good effort there by Gardner.
That was great by Clark.
Well, his second efforts today have been brilliant, haven't they?
He competed for the ball in the air and then tracked down a little bloke all of 25 metres to the boundary.
He's got a big engine.
Well, it's big
21
heart.
touches this afternoon.
Boundary throw in. Gardner has been good too, decisively down to Goddard. Revolt still looks back to the middle. Stevie Milne lets it bounce. Has a look. Kicks a goal. That should put down the resistance.
That's 3 for Stevie Milne in this last quarter.
And they still never got Bradshaw back on Revolt. He's down there now, but it was McDonald who was still tracking him.
He's been in such good form this year, Stevie Milne. You just wondered how Brisbane were going to handle him and Schneider for 4 quarters. And he's just been the beneficiary of some smart ball movement into the forward line too.
Three goals in the last quarter to Milne. Cossey's kicked a goal in the last quarter, Revolt. The 3 of them have kicked 11 of the 14 today for the Saints.
And that's the story, isn't it?
Yeah. And the Bradshaw story is a huge one, isn't it? Off the ground for 5-6 minutes.
Yeah.
And the game's turned. And the Saints are safe now.
So that's no reflection on McDonald. I mean, but Bradshaw just had him covered there, didn't he?
Yep. So a bit of history beckons. 2 teams 9-0 for the first time since 1897. And they play here in about a month's time. 5 weeks, I think around 14 it is. The 2 of them, the Saints and Geelong. Big question mark is whether they'll switch the game to the bigger stadium.
Hope not.
Brennan brought down.
Nothing better than the Dome on a Sunday, Bruce.
Hard to beat. You are being controversial, you know.
Oh, purely self-interest.
Closer to the airport, is it?
Gardner, Del Santo. And Brisbane got one last roar in them. What a revealing afternoon, Tim.
Oh, it's been an entertaining game of football, and Brisbane Lions have been so brave and bold, and it's been a great experience for so many of their young players too.
See, the thing about the Saints that's been important in the last quarter is they've kicked straight. I mean, that was a problem for them all day, and yet in the last quarter where it's counted, they've actually kicked very straight. Rich got it from Brennan. Oh, gee, he'll be disappointed with that, the skipper. It's been a cameo from Brown today, hasn't it? He hasn't had a lot of the ball. He's kicked his 3, though. But that one, well, he'd take that every day of the week.
97-81, minute 40 to go. Gardner in front, knocked it down. Harding didn't appear to have the footy.
At the moment, they really need that ground level forward too, don't they, the Brisbane Lions? They need some danger at ground level that they currently don't have.
Ron Hooper was their chance, wasn't he?
A couple of really exciting, talented small men would complete the package, provided those big guys are fit. Here's Rich into the oncoming Geary. It ricochets towards half forward. He gets it back from Black. Slips a hand pass away to Adcock to Collier. Can't find a way through. Does now. Brown won't get there in time. Gilbert. Wonderful courage from Brown. Strong tackle by Wiscatelli. The base of that is Baker.
Just done a couple of things this afternoon, Collier. Hasn't had a lot of the ball, but there's just a couple of times when he's gone to the ball you thought, okay, well, there's something there to work with.
Tell what he does, Tim Collier. He straightens up. I mean, he actually went to the dangerous bit there. He straightened up and took the bloke on, broke the tackle. He was the late inclusion for Proud.
Oh, wait. Here we go. Don't block, guys.
Gardner's been tireless, just like Clark. Goddard to Jones, who was so important in the first half. Back to Bradshaw. Bradshaw with that little one.
That's it there. Play on. Play on.
Collier, not sure if that's exactly where he wanted to go.
That's it there.
And do you know what? You just wonder if Merritt and Patfull, that's a slow kick. Patfull and Merritt are out for a while, whether Bradshaw's going to have to play in the back half a bit in the next month.
How good was that? He's been as cool as a penguin's freezer in this last quarter.
That'd be cold, wouldn't it?
Very cold, Bruce.
Fantastic last turn from Montagna.
Contradiction in terms because he's been red hot.
We had a look in his place earlier today. Didn't see that freezer den.
Saw everything else.
So Brennan working it forward to Hayes. Been terrific in his 200.
Love this game this afternoon. Been able to broadcast it with a smile. 15 seconds to go. And I think you've got to say Brisbane, despite a loss here, are for real. They have mixed it with the Saints, who in many respects have been the barometer for hard work so far. Revolt's got the 40. They've got the 4 points. Lenny Hayes has played 200, and he celebrates in style.